So bright, so beautiful, my precious. King baby, Mark, lawyer should be resting. Lawyer needs to keep up his strength. What are you doing? Mustn't ask us. Not its business. Dying. Thought I told you to stay off of social media? Curd be hard hand and burn. Curd be travelers far from home. I said I would handle it. I'd be the online troll. They do not see what lies ahead when sun is faded and moon is dead. Come on, Mark. Give me the phone. No. You swore, Mark. You swore on the precious. Oh. King Baby promised. King Baby lied. I swear I'm going to get back to comic book reviews. But first, I'm going to talk about Mark Waid. Mark Waid. He's the gift that won't stop giving. What would you do if you were being sued for defamation and tortious interference? Bet you wouldn't run on your GoFundMe page to post an update at 9 o'clock on Halloween night to talk about new allegations against you. Unless you're Mark Waid. Where is your lawyer, dude? Where is Mark S. Zaid Esquire? Oh, he's busy filing a motion for dismissal because supposedly Richard Calhoun Meyer filed the suit in the wrong jurisdiction. Even though the breach of contract happened in Texas, Mark S. Zaid Esquire claims that because his client was in California, that's where it should have been filed. You realize that if he files it there, Waid would still be subject to Texas law since that's where the contract was signed and breached. So this tactic only delays things. He could still refile it in California. But come on, man. It's part of your job to stop Waid from doing stupid shit like this, cause it can be used against him in court. That's literally why Gollum hired you. Not to defend him, but to keep him from making a further ass of himself. And I'm not kidding here. Mark Waid posted this update on his GoFundMe page to defend himself against new allegations of his piss-poor behavior by mocking the accusers. Oi fucking vey. I'm gonna need some extra forehead and another pair of hands for this facepalm. He says, some of you may be surprised at the amount of harassment and Mark Waid non-fanfiction being posted in the GoFundMe comments section. I'm reasonably sure that most GoFundMes don't attract trolls. I'm reasonably sure that most GoFundMes aren't ranked with deception and omissions, Mark. Nowhere on your page do you say why you're being sued. Nowhere. It's almost like you don't want anyone to know. Why don't you tell people that you're being sued for tortious interference because you allegedly contacted Antarctic Press's owner and intimidated him into severing a contract with Richard Chance Me If You Dare Meyer? Why don't you tell people that you're being sued for defamation because you claim Richard, cause I got jungle fever Meyer, is an alt-right troll with connections to white nationalist groups? Why are you hiding that bit of information? You know, the actual reason you're being sued. Nah, you don't want to mention that. Instead, you go on and on about how you're fighting for the defenseless, marginalized creators, and if people want to stand up to this so-called harassment, they should give their money to you. Don't support the marginalized creators. Don't buy their books. Don't promote their work. No, give the money to the straight white man so he can speak for them. Yeah, that's how you stop non-existent bullying. By giving money to the guy who's been in the industry for decades. Oh, but it gets better. Waid decides that the best way to deal with the new accusations that have popped up in the last week is to mock them. He says, here's a short list of the things I've learned about myself by reading the comments. Apparently, I'm a millionaire. Google lists your net worth as 2.5 million, genius. I'm sure that includes whatever assets like property you own, but stop acting like people pulled this number out of thin air. Evidently, I was once in business with an African American woman. That's racist. Maybe it's me. I don't know. Maybe it is me, but that sounds a lot like, oh, you know I don't work with niggas. That's just what it sounds like to me. I could be wrong, but it really does sound like you don't work with black people. And I know you're working on some project with Kwanzaa and Fufu, but that's really just a white guy working with the stand, and I'm still confused which one is which. But seriously, that was a really poor choice of words, Mark. I'm surprised to learn that I've made some phone calls to some unnamed university in Scotland and got a woman thrown out 3 weeks before graduation. Well, we don't have any evidence proving you did it, but it sounds remarkably similar to what you did to Antarctic Press, and we do have evidence of that. So your track record isn't really good here, dude. Maybe you don't want to act like this didn't happen.
And drove her unnamed husband to 3 suicide attempts.
Seriously, Mark, do you not understand the concept of tone and tact? You're making fun of someone who potentially tried to kill himself several times, and you think that because his wife didn't name him, that makes the claim invalid.
And it turns out I had a wife, so screw all of you for not sending me a wedding gift.
So a few people mistook the statement mentioning your then girlfriend as meaning you had a wife. So far, nothing you mentioned crossed the line. It just sounds like people are repeating things they've heard about you. I thought you far lefties listened and believed. But now that you're on the receiving end of it, we should just take your word that all of it's bullshit?
There's so much more. I'm tempted to publish it as an anthology stretch goal.
Given that it's taken you a week to reach $75,000 on your GoFundMe campaign, I don't think you could even reach a stretch goal unless you funded it yourself. Interesting though how all of your fellow far-left busybodies aren't willing to cough up enough money to help you fight the good fight. It's almost like they'd rather have the appearance of supporting identity politics than actually doing it. You know, what people have been saying for years about SJWs. Oh, they're willing to tweet out your little campaign, but these folks spent more money on the Shadow of Colossus remake than they did on your campaign. And I'm not talking about randos. I'm talking about well-known people like Neil Gaiman. Neil ain't poor. He just thinks Mark Waid is only worth $250 of his time. And speaking of rich, overrated douchebags, where is your lawyer? Making public statements is part of his job. Have your lawyer make the statement about the allegations. Yes, it's going to sound retarded, but at least he'll be the one who looks bad, not you. Seriously, did Mark S. Zate Esquire know you were going to do this? I really hope he didn't, because if he did, you might want to fire your lawyer. He really should have told you to keep your digital mouth shut, but since you didn't, let's keep going.
I've deleted exactly 1 ugly comment aimed at others. The rest I'm keeping untouched so you can see for yourself the sort of hate and harassment I'm having to lawyer up against, and I'm a straight white man.
Yeah, we know. If you got any whiter, we'd have to call you Elizabeth Warren. But I'm not going to let your little lie slide. You're not being sued because you're being harassed. You're being sued because you allegedly contacted the owner of a comic book publisher and threatened him into ending a contract with someone you didn't like. And because you also claim that person associates with white supremacists. That's why you're being sued, so stop fucking lying about it, Mark. Now, people talk shit about you because you do things like this.
This is nothing compared to what women, people of color, and the LGBTQMNOP plus asterisk hashtag up down left right holder and press star community receive every day from Comicsgate's representatives. Think about it.
I did, and as a member of 2 of those groups, let me say again, stop fucking lying, Mark. No one's harassing anyone. People are commenting on the ridiculous far-left politics in comics and the retarded antics of some of the creators online. We get that y'all don't like anyone pointing it out. We don't care. We're gonna call out your bullshit, and calling us names won't make us stop. It will get your ass sued, though.
Read their comments. Pay attention to the language. It's important to see for yourselves as how these people react and what fiction they'll throw at you when you take a stand against bigotry and for inclusivity.
Were you looking in the mirror when you wrote that, Mark? I mean, you're the one who wrote, evidently, I was once in business with an African-American woman. Sounds like some bigoted shit to say for someone who's so inclusive.
When you object to black writers being called race hustlers whose writing is a minstrel show.
Funny, I didn't hear any of you or your SJW cohorts having a problem when national embarrassment to gay black man Don Lemon said Kanye West put on a minstrel show when he went to see Donald Trump. If I remember right, all y'all SJWs clapped and cheered and loved how pretentious jackasses like Lemon and Michael Eric Dyson used the most racist language they could to attack Kanye West, short of calling him a house nigga. But I guess it's okay to use that language if it's about black people you don't like. Right, Mark?
When you call people out for comparing transgender people to dog-faced voices at carnival freak shows.
Where did that happen, Mark? You know, context matters. I don't know where this comic comes from, or why it was said, or if anyone actually said it. So, if you're going to give me the context, great. Otherwise, I'm going to take this as you cherry-picking things to make them sound bad.
When you object to women in any industry being accused of being hired because of boobses and unqualified as a gender.
I'd like to pick things that didn't happen for $75,000, Mark. What actually happened is that Richard C-Cups or GTFO Meyer pointed out that the guy who hired a certain female assistant editor had the hots for her. That's what happened. He never said women were unqualified as a group. He's actually on record on several videos naming female writers and artists he likes, including transgender women. You're a writer, Mark. How are you this bad at lying? If you can't come up with a believable lie, maybe you should, and I'm just spitballing here, stop fucking lying.
I'm fighting a lawsuit that I strongly believe is designed to silence anyone who speaks out against that sort of prejudice.
Bullshit. You're trying to cover up your shitty behavior by using so-called marginalized people as a shield. Your bad behavior is so well known that I knew about it within a couple of years of getting hardcore into comics, and that was before your cross-gen days. You're fighting a lawsuit because you allegedly couldn't mind your own business and decided to strong-arm an indie publisher, who's ironically Asian, so you could get back at someone you don't like. And that's probably not the first time you've done it. I don't need to hear a bunch of other allegations, I just need to see how this went down. You felt free enough to publicly state that you'd contact AP, did it, and went on a media blitz bragging about your success. That suggests to me that you've done this before. What's throwing you off is that Richard Can I Get an Oorah Meyer didn't back down. Now you gotta deal with the lawsuit. Semper Fi, motherfucker. But I do love how you're supposed to be the strong one, Mark. You're supposed to be the white knight. Yet here you are, playing the victim. Usually it takes someone getting in a person's face to make them turn bitch. You did it as soon as someone dared to tell you no.
I'm fighting back.
By asking other people to pay your legal fees. You're such a man. Who's a big man? Are you a big man? You a grown man? Such a big man.
Please donate, and please keep sharing.
Yes, by all means, people, please donate and share every crowdfunding campaign you can find. Support indie creators and spread the word about their projects and books if you enjoyed them. Help people who really need help, not some privileged straight white man trying to hide behind the disenfranchised now that his mouth has gotten him into trouble.
Let's send a clear message that online harassment is unacceptable.
Bet that's not what you said when you called Antarctic Press. Every time you get on social media, Mark, I'm like, the suspense is terrible. I hope it'll last. I've never seen anyone so prone to unhinged behavior who wants to leave behind this much evidence. Easyman Skyber did a stream reading the nonsense you sent to him after someone trolled the chat as you during y'all's stream. Everybody knew it wasn't you, but you flipped your shit, sending Ethan emails about you fucking people up with chainsaws. This is how you behave when you're left to your own devices. So stop acting like a victim. You're not a victim. You're a bully. And you just proved it with your update. But what do I know? I'm just some guy.